those Bengals, his favorite target, Jamar Chase, who's got 4 touchdowns to start the season for Cincinnati. They're looking to get a win here. #1 overall pick up against #1 overall pick, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence's favorite target, Marvin Jones. For sure. Loves himself some Marvin Jones, and we love to see that. We hope they both show out here as Week 4 starts tomorrow night on the NFL app. Welcome to Good Morning Football, everybody. We are presented by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. My name's Kay Adams, Kyle Brandt, Peter Schrager, Golden Tate, Super Bowl champion. Enjoying the show, 2 hours to go. We've got lots to get to set the table for you guys for Week 4. So let's get right to it. It's time for the lead block. Tomorrow night, it is happening right here. We've got a huge matchup. It's the Jags, it's the Bengals. The last 2 first overall picks, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, for the latest on these 2 heavyweight quarterbacks. Let's send it out to our very own Cameron Wolf. Cam, take it away. Can Joe Burrow and those Bengals keep it going against the Jags? That is your kickoff to Week 4. That is Thursday Night Football.
Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, the last 2 #1 overall picks, facing off in their first NFL battle. Of course, this isn't their first battle, period. Close your ears, Clemson fans. Remember that 2020 national title game? It was Joe Burrow with the big day. 463 yards, 5 touchdowns, and leading his LSU Tigers on a win over Lawrence's Clemson Tigers. And Lawrence talked about that reluctantly Tuesday.
It is news time,
he mentioned that he gave
people.
Burrow congrats after the game, but he'll certainly be looking to even the series 1-1 this Thursday. One thing I'm watching for Lawrence is he has a league-leading 7 interceptions. But offensive coordinator Darrell Bevel told me he doesn't want to take away his thinker, his aggression. So can he balance that decision-making and keep the aggression? In Cincinnati, they're 2-1 after a strong start, and Joe Burrow's a big reason why. Running back Joe Mixon said it looked like Burrow had his swagger back after a big win versus the Steelers. The Jaguars are trying to get off the snide. They've lost 18 straight. Bengals trying to keep it going. It's an important game. Swaggy Burrow, aggressive Lawrence. Perfect recipe for a fun matchup.
Great stuff from Cameron Wolf there. Burrow and the Bengals sitting at 2-1, tied for first place in the AFC North. Trevor and the Jags still looking for their first win, still looking for some turnovers as well. Bigger surprise to you, Golden, this season so far, Jags or Bengals?
I got to go with the Jags, and it's simply because they are -8 with the turnover ratio after 3 games. Going into this week, I think we focus on just a precious few things. Let's see what happens if we just don't turn the ball over. Like, just get rid of it. And then let's just see what happens, because, I mean, they're running the ball well. I mean, turnovers make and break games, okay? Point blank in the story. You lose momentum. Your defense is going to get tired if they're out there all the time. And the defense could probably help them get a few, turnovers as well. But, look, that -8 after 3 games, you just can't win. I mean, we see so many a lot of great throws from Trevor, but the bad ones really set your team back. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to win NFL games, especially when you can't convert on 3rd down.
You like how they're running the ball? You said in the media, you like how they're running the ball.
Yeah, I mean, they're averaging like almost 5 yards a carry or something like that. So, I mean, continue to run the ball.
Yeah, I look at this Jaguars team, and I had a little higher expectations because of not only Trevor Lawrence, because of Urban Meyer. I thought that Urban Meyer, at the very least, would be like, come in, disciplined, college-style coach. We're all in this together. And they have been in these games. They were down 10-7 late in the 3rd quarter to the Broncos, lost, and then they were beating the Cardinals on Sunday until the Cardinals pulled away with that pick 6 that we just saw. But this quote really, really was bizarre to me. And if you haven't seen it, this is NFL Films, Week 2. Urban Meyer speaking to Vic Fangio. Take a listen to Meyer in the post-game handshake.
A lot of good players in this league, man.
Yeah, there are.
It's Alabama every week.
Yeah.
Be safe.
See ya.
I mean, it's Alabama every week, as if he didn't expect it. I don't know. I don't know if I want to hear that. It's Alabama every week. There is no Division 1A school coming. There is no division. If you're a player and you're hearing that, Golden, I ask you, you're a competitive player. Do you like hearing that? That, hey, there's Alabama every week? Or are you like, yeah, duh, like, we knew that.
Yeah, like Captain Obvious. Yeah, we know that. Just, you find a way. Find a way. Good coaches put their players in good situations to succeed. And Trevor Lawrence and any rookie quarterback throwing the ball 40 times, I feel like more times than none, it's not going to work out too well. So let's get back to the basics. Run the ball, tackle, convert 3rd downs, and hang on to the ball.
Let's do it.
Let's try that.
Really quickly on the Jaguars, they have players. Like, they got players.
Yes.
Josh Allen's a good defensive end, and Trevor Lawrence is a great young quarterback, and Marvin Jones can play receiver. And Laviska Shenault, we did about 6 weeks of shows with over the offseason. He hasn't been much of a factor. And these college coaches do win sometimes. And I'm not saying win Super Bowls, but, like, look at this full scratch. Like, give me a last couple. And Harbaugh is obviously the best one. But, like, these are some that... 5 wins? I'm not asking for, like, don't go winless here. Don't, like, let's get a win. You got to beat the Bengals. Like, the schedule does not get much easier. Bengals are a team that they can beat, that they're better on paper than in a lot of ways if you compare the two. Rule had 5 wins. Kingsbury, Chip won 10. Harbaugh, of course, went to the playoffs. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's crazy. It shouldn't be 0-16, and it should not be 0-3. I think Urban Meyer can get more out of this team.
I think the Alabama thing is ironic because I think if I'm Nick Saban sitting back, this is why I don't make the jump, guys. I'm not doing it. I tried it. It was hell on earth. I got out of there. I'm never doing it again. I think the answer, who's more surprising, is the Jaguars, but not because they're 0-3. They may be 2-15. I don't know. I am pretty surprised at Lawrence. Let's just remind ourselves, let's contextualize this a little bit, what some of the hype was. These are people that we like and respect. I'm not cold taking them. I'm just saying to see what the hype was. Daniel Jeremiah, back at the draft, you are very thankful if you're the Jaguars because Trevor Lawrence's just don't come around. David Shaw, don't be surprised if Trevor Lawrence takes it to the playoffs. Charles Davis, nicest guy in the world. One of the comparisons I use for Trevor Lawrence is another guy who wore 16, and that's Joe Montana. Will Brinson. There have been 3 prior to this draft absolutely slam dunk, can't miss prospects. Those are John Elway, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. The 4th guy is Trevor Lawrence. So this was the hype machine. He hasn't played very well. He hasn't looked very calm. He's made dumb mistakes. So I don't care if he plays perfect football. I don't even care if he wins games. You got to give us something to go on tomorrow night. You got to give us something to justify the pick, the hype, the future. Just give me some plays. And there's been a few. But the play has been sloppy, shaky. It doesn't look like the Clemson Trevor Lawrence. So I don't really care in terms of his reputation if he wins tomorrow or if he throws 6 touchdowns. But my God, we got Steve Smith. Trevor Lawrence is droolable. His pro day was like watching my better half, Angie, make some biscuits because it was just butter and smooth. Now, that's Steve Smith Sr., and he's a legend, but there's been some lumps in those biscuits. We're ready to drool. We're dying to drool, and we've been more closer to vomiting. So, Trevor, give us something, man. Come on.
Do you think it's Trevor or the coaching?
I think it's a little of both, and I think one of the biggest things Urban Meyer's contributing is he's a lightning rod. A lot of people are critics of Urban Meyer, so they are dying to go after him. They cannot wait to carve him. So just watch. If the Bengals, I hope they don't, come out at 0-10, it'll all be on Meyer. Or the Jaguars, rather. If they go 0-10, it'll be on Meyer because he's the guy who's going to take it and maybe deflect it from Lawrence. But my point is, it's a lot the coaching, it's a lot the roster. If you are this quarterback Christ figure, let's see some touchdowns and maybe close to a win.
Right. I feel bad for Jags fans right now. They can, of course, turn it around. They can do it under the bright lights of prime time tomorrow on Thursday Night Football. But what a time to be a Bengals fan. I love this. I predicted they would go to the playoffs. They'd be in the mix. And they're right there. They've got Joe Burrow. He is 2nd in the league in rushing. You love to see it. T. Higgins, when he's out there, is a stud. He wasn't even out there. They did not even need him to beat Pittsburgh. The O-line looks better. They didn't take Penei Sewell. They took Jamar Chase, hot take city, about what he was looking like in preseason and training camp. Lo and behold, 4 touchdowns later, he is absolutely doing his thing. They got a long way to go, but this offense has been so fun to watch, and I'll dig into the defense on this team. So if you're not watching the Bengals and you think it's the same old Bengals, you're wrong. This fan base has a lot to be excited for.
I totally agree with you. I think the thing that's curious about the Bengals is their only blemish is they lost to, like, the Justin Fields-ish Bears, and then Burrow just got drunk for 3 straight plays and threw 3 straight picks. Other than that, they're like an undefeated team. So I actually think that was an anomaly, those 3 picks.
Back to the coaching. Zach Taylor's been working with Joe Burrow now for 2 years, and it's all hands-on, and it's like, I'm an offensive coach. I don't think Urban is the offensive mastermind quarterback guru guy. He's more of like the CEO, and it's going to be on Bevel, it's going to be on Schottenheimer. Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor are talking every single day, and that's what helps a young quarterback really have success.
And that chemistry that matters, that Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow thing, that's a real thing. The guys talked about it on the Sunday show. Kurt Warner, Michael Irvin, just they're carrying it over, what that means to have somebody that you're so comfortable with out the gates. Like week 1, they're talking about his drops, what he was doing. None of that matters. They are crushing it on the field. And we'll see what they do up against Jacksonville, a team that needs to get turnovers and has not through 3 weeks of action. Let's bring in Ian Rappaport. He's our NFL Network insider joining us here on this Wednesday morning. We're all excited for this game between the Bengals and the Jags tomorrow, but let's talk about the Bears. I don't exactly know who might be the starting quarterback there this weekend. What is the latest in Chicago? And Marlon Mack, is he on the move?
Well, let's start with the Bears quarterback situation. A little bit murky, I would say, and it's probably been murky for the last couple of weeks. We know that Justin Fields started last week, struggled, let's say a little bit in his first start. Also had a bit of a hand injury. Said after the game he got it checked out and that he would be fine, but it certainly is something that the staff is monitoring. You also have Andy Dalton recovering from a bone bruise in his knee. That was about a 1 to 3 week injury. So this week could be possible that he would make his return. We'll see if he is healthy enough. I know they put some quarterbacks through some paces yesterday just to see where they were. And then there's Nick Foles. Remember him, Super Bowl MVP, third-string quarterback, diced up the threes during training camp. The Bears have said, and Matt Nagy said it recently, that he would consider all three quarterbacks. We still do not know where the quarterback decision is going to come down to. Who is going to be the starter? Could it actually be Nick Foles from third stringer to starter this week? Obviously, more as that develops. And then you mentioned Marlon Mack. Curious case here. The former starter for the Indianapolis Colts averaged 4 yards a carry for a couple years, then tore his Achilles. This is a very tough injury to come back from. Has had just 5 carries this year, averaged 3.2 yards, and his colleague Tom Pelissero tells us Mack and the Colts have mutually agreed that they seek a trade for him. We'll see if someone ends up doing. He's only due a little less than $1 million. Perhaps someone takes a flyer on him. Or maybe this would be a case of a team saying, you know what, it's just best to kind of move on and start new. Another situation to keep watching in Indy.
Appreciate you. They got to get a win. They're 0-3. They got to get a win over those Dolphins this weekend. Either way, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere, Ian. We're going to talk about the Hail Mary with Golden Tate. One of the most controversial calls in NFL history. We've also got the Fab Five.
We got our rookies. There's Jamar Chase. We'll talk about him in a second. You don't call it the Hail Mary?
Fresh baked biscuits and hand-breaded chicken, that's a breakfast no-brainer. But adding hot